But anyways, so me for the recording. Hold on, for the recording, the debate's gonna be between me and Careless, and then it's gonna be versus some random dude named Eve, and then the good person Mclovin. So what's gonna be the proposition? Careless.
Goku Skulls to Uni. Do y'all like disagree?
Wait, Uni plus, Uni plus.
Yeah, you Uni plus.
What are
Uni plus.
the duos again?
You said
What?
I was not paying
Wait,
attention.
what's the wait,
It's,
Infinity? What's the
I
topic?
got you. It's AES Mclovin, and then the One Fly Slime. I think that's his name. Yeah, One Real Fly Slime, and then you and Ive. So
Wait,
you and
Infinity.
you-
What's the topic?
Wait, me and who?
You
Well,
and
we're
I.
scaling.
Oh,
Wait,
okay.
basically, me and Infinity are scaling Goku. Scaling.
Yeah.
Goku.
So McLovin, where do you think like Goku caps at? Like, because
highball 2B. Highball 2B.
Two B. The
What is
fuck
that?
is
Yeah,
nigga? I
McLovin, we
don't do.
talk
Okay, look,
second tier,
I don't
bro.
do. I
What is
forgot
that?
that these niggas are low tiers. Look, we don't do tiering systems, okay, little buddy.
Yeah, okay,
So
well, then
it's
this
just the
topic
case
was
that we can.
fine.
I'm
We're
sorry,
not
I
doing
don't think I
topic.
was done. I'm sorry, I don't think I was done. By
Yeah,
the way,
no,
cool guy,
okay,
you have
calm
perms.
down,
I'm sorry, I
Infinity.
don't think I was
Calm
done.
down,
Yeah,
Infinity.
Yeah, cool guy,
Calm
you
down,
have perms.
Infinity.
If you
yeah.
didn't
Hold
know,
on.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
don't think I was done. I was the one
I just let him
interrupting. Why are
finish.
you telling me
Yeah,
to calm
I
down?
just let him finish. Sorry, I
Okay,
was doing
thank you.
something.
So just to be clear, we don't do tiering systems, okay? That's for low tiers, okay? So we just use
Okay.
deductive reasoning. The same as tiering systems flawedly, or I apologize, in a flawed way also use deductive reasoning. Hold on. So it's just a case that we can say, for example, P1, my character is 5-dimensional. P2, your character is 3-dimensional. Conclusion, my character, who is 5-dimensional, is above your 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional character. Kayla, do you have anything to add?
Nah, that's all.
All right, hold on, let me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care
And
for
now
the
you are banned. Dumbass nigga.
Okay, go ahead. I'm back. Wow, people, did they say anything retarded yet?
Nah,
No,
the
no,
dumbass,
I mean, I just said
dumbass
I don't
nigga
care
in
for
the
the
chat
debate.
tried something. Now he's out.
Okay. Look, so what's going to be a response? You need a now.
Yeah, I said I do not care for the debate.
The what?
Is that the response to what I just said?
Yeah, that's the response. I do not care for the debate. Like that's how we're judging scale.
Okay, no, we can grant. Wait, just to be clear, I was just saying we don't use tiering systems, but if you want to get beat up on a tiering system, we can agree to VSBW.
Yeah, I mean, we need some type of like qualification.
I'm
we can
sorry,
agree on.
I'm not talking to you currently. So McLovin, since you're the one who gave the cap, do you agree to VSBW?
Holy fuck.
Sure.
What the fuck? Okay, and then let me see. What is 2B? Like, what is it in name?
Multiversal.
Yo, you sound nice, bro. I'm gonna add you, bro. All right,
Bro, what?
we finish the bit.
I'm gonna get touched, bro.
What? Anyways, everyone, Careless and Infinity.
And I'm finna leave that
Versus-
type of rookie server too. Okay.
I did, and
Leave it in the chat.
Aieve. Stop playing and do your chores. My bad. I have like 3 kids. Anyways, okay. So,
What?
would you like us to start scaling McLovin?
What? Who? Repeat that sentence.
Would you, which like us to start scaling McLovin?
So what do you mean by us?
It's a 2v2. You know, me and Careless.
Sure.
So, would you like us to start scaling?
Go ahead.
Yeah, that doesn't really answer the question. But okay.
Wait, so the claim is that Goku's
Above Universal.
Okay.
He's above multiversal. He believes he caps at 2B, which in name is multiversal under his view. So we could just say something along the lines of it's universal because he was able to exist in this place with no space or time. Therefore, obviously, it's just going to be the case that I'm sorry, I don't think I was done. It's just going to be the case that he is also atemporal, aspatial. Apparently, I guess that's what we're going to argue. So, what's the response, McLovin? Get it out.
Is that you just not saying? Okay, whatever.
Get it out.
I mean, he doesn't have. He just doesn't have BDE.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Goku doesn't have BDE.
BDE. What the fuck is that?
Oh, beyond dimensional
existence.
it's a tiering
Beyond
system.
what?
Beyond dimensional existence. It's a versus battle.
Yeah, this nigga's
for real, I
abbreviated.
firmly
Yeah,
say
okay, wait, hold on.
Like, can I elaborate? Can I
Chill,
elaborate?
chill. No, hold on. Let me respond to the claim. You can elaborate to some retarded chapter. But look, just to be clear, McLovin, look, if you were to make a claim such as that after I gave the scaling, it's just going to be a case that you're presupposing our scaling to be wrong. So one, what's the argument for that? And then, Careless, do you have anything to add before his teammate rudely interrupted us?
Nah.
Okay. Can you get the scans, Careless, the Zeno erase and everything shit? So yeah, when you say he doesn't have BDE, which apparently means beyond dimensional existence, obviously that's going to presuppose that he didn't exist in a place with no space and time, which translates to him also being existentially above space and time. So yeah, I'm going to just ask for the argument for that.
You could just say that that statement is a hyperbolic outlier.
Yeah, justify that they would make an exaggeration specifically within that incident or in that instant. I agree that they can exaggerate certain statements or certain scenarios, but I see no reason as to why they would exaggerate that specific scenario. Additionally, since I just had prima facie justification, and then like I said, I just want the motivation as to why he would have no BDE. Because even if we were to say that that scan specifically was hyperbolic, that being the statement made in the scan, does that mean that he has no BDE due to other reasons? No, that does not mean that at all. So your reason as to why he has a BDE is going to be obviously a non sequitur.
Yeah. So
I
is
can
this in
explain.
reference to the other world?
I'm sorry, I can't hear two people speaking.
This thing is in chat.
Holy fuck! Is this in reference to the other world? You're scaling.
Anyways, ignore that guy. So look,
Holy
McLovin,
fuck.
you can look at scans. You can see that Zeno erased everything. I don't know what the fuck this nigga is talking about, but yeah, go ahead. So what would your response be, McLovin? Okay, you don't even know. So, Aieve, what would your
I was
response be?
trying to compose myself here.
I'm
Yo,
sorry. Look,
I
we're
thought
not
the
really
people
that.
nigga already
Calm
stole
down. Yo, let's not be aggressive
calm
like
down.
again. So, right, the honest response is he's still bound to spatial extension. Right, and any form of Goku we've ever seen is still materially composed, and so he
I was gonna
cannot be
say
out of
that.
this.
He has a physical form.
Okay, I just came back. What'd you say?
Yeah, he's materially composed, so he cannot be out
Yeah,
of his source.
justify that after that feat that I'm talking about, he just doesn't have a physical avatar, and then his true form is abstract. Additionally, what was the point that you made under your breath, McLovin?
I was
Yeah,
just
so-
saying the fact that he is a physical form and he's not. Like
Okay,
an
then yeah,
astral
you can't just
projection or
presuppose that
anything.
that isn't a physical avatar. Okay, yeah, there's no argument for that. All right,
Wait.
continue.
Yeah, so repeat your argument because you like mumbled over yourself.
I'm sorry, that was not a mumble or a stutter. You're less fluent than me. But just to be clear, the
You're
argument
on
since
the
you didn't track it,
recording.
I'm sorry, I don't think I was finished. Don't ask me a question and then cut me off because you realize that you were wrong. So can you please mute him, cool guy?
Go ahead.
Thank you. So to finish the point that I was making before I was really interrupted, even though he requested me to repeat it because he didn't fucking track it. Just to be clear, I'm saying that for him to assume that he has no BDE because he's still materially composed is to assume that he just doesn't have a physical avatar in which represents him physically. That being represents his true form, which is abstract. So it seems to be the case that I have prima facie justification. Yo, Careless, bro, you good? What the fuck is wrong with your mic? I have prima facie justification for his true form being abstract. While on panel, they obviously have to portray him physically due to how a panel fucking works, how a manga works, how a physicality works. If they make the presupposition that this isn't just a physical avatar, I'm just going to require evidence for them. I'm going to ask for evidence. And then, Careless, do you have anything to add?
Nah.
All right, go ahead.
Do you want to
Okay.
take this or do you want me to?
Can I go?
Okay, go
Yeah, you
ahead.
can go.
Okay.
You niggas are terrible.
I know.
So
Chill, bro.
I've literally never done TC debates before. So
Yeah, we can tell. What was the response?
Yo, calm down, bro. Calm
so
down.
they there's
I'm
literally
sorry, you're the
no-
worst version here. I'm sorry, Abe. Don't talk over your
Hold
opponent.
on,
Make it
let him
argument.
go.
Let my
Yeah,
partner
yeah,
speak,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
Make
yeah,
love
yeah,
in-
just shut the
one-sided
fuck up.
moderation.
Just shut the
All right,
fuck
chill,
up.
Make
chill,
love
chill.
in-
Moderation on the other side.
Wait. Infinity, just let McLovin talk, and we're all just gonna be quiet now. McLovin, go ahead.
Okay, so there's literally no statement or feat that Goku has abstract existence.
Yeah. Plus, to add on to that,
Wait,
you
no. We're not doing that. So look, in
Yo,
response to what
we're
McLovin
getting out
said,
our argument,
I'm
bro.
sorry, the moderator
Can we
said,
get a
let
moderation?
McLovin speak. I'm sorry, please mute him, cool guy. The
Okay,
moderator said,
wait,
let
wait,
McLovin
wait,
speak.
All
Not let
right.
Aieve
Look, bro, I don't want to mute you, bro.
Okay.
Just let him finish respond to what he just said. Let's just carry
Okay,
on.
so look, Yeah, to say that he has no statement or feat is to presuppose the feat that we give is not adequate. We gave a feat. It stated that he erased everything, which would include space and time deductively. If you disagree with him actually erasing everything, and if you were to say, for example, that could be an exaggeration, you can't justify that under a mental motoscope or a narrative motoscope that is possible. So I don't grant that it's a possible thing for it to be an exaggeration, narratively speaking, which, yes, that is an existent motoscope. A narrative motoscope is something which exists, that which adheres to the laws of the motoscope. Therefore, I wouldn't account for your presupposition under my view. Now, if you were to say he doesn't have BDE due to this specific reason, like I said, that would be a non sequitur. You cannot say just because this feat or scans fails, that means that he has no BDE. That just does not follow because there can be external reasons, feats, statements, etc., that infers his BDE.
Okay, and the obvious response to this is your prima facie justification isn't actually justified because it was refuted prior when we brought up spatial extension. And your character, shown by your scans, proves that they're still bound by spatial extension.
Okay, so in response to that, like I said, retard, it's only defeated because Mr. Mike, you have an echo. The prima facie justification in this case is only defeated if it follows that this isn't a physical avatar. So your response to prima facie justification here, which by the way, this doesn't defeat prima facie justification, just gives
Go ahead and
extensive
spell
evidence.
that.
Let me finish. Anyways, your response, if I were to presuppose it doesn't even defeat that I'm prima facie justified, it just gives an additional impression of evidence, which does not go against what prima facie justification talks about. But prima facie justification under review is only defeated if it is the case that the presupposition in which this nigga is not a physical avatar exists.
We
But that
heard it
presupposition is
first.
something that I'm not granting. So justify that it isn't a presupposition. Rather, I apologize. Justify that this isn't a physical avatar which represents his true form that is abstract, rather than this just being the nigga that we're using,
Define
which is a
prima
claim
facie
that you
and
need to
spell it.
make.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, again, you didn't address the argument. You can be
Okay, let's conclude then.
incorporeal. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me finish. You can be incorporeal and still bound by spatial extension. So it doesn't
But
matter.
what's the argument for that? It's just the case that I believe that time is something that's. Let me finish. I don't think I was done. Are you that insecure about the arguments?
I
Please be
thought
a
you were
cool
done.
guy.
Bro,
I'm
I thought you
sorry.
were.
Please be a cool guy. I'm sorry. Please be a cool guy.
Who the hell's cool guy?
I'm just
Yeah,
judging.
thank you. He's the one who wanted moderation, by the way. But anyways, so it's just the case that I believe that time is change, and change is something that's biconditionally represented via spatial action and interaction. So if someone is atemporal, which I said he was atemporal, it would be the case that they cannot be represented physically or spatially. If they can't be represented spatially, then I believe that that entails that there's a lack of space there, because spatial action is something which is going to be a status. So if he's atemporal, that translates to aspatial. If he's aspatial, that translates to his atemporality. So if you were to say something along the lines of, well, he can be atemporal but not aspatial, I would just not grant that. And you have to fucking give an argument for that. So currently there's two burdens on the table. One, you have to give an argument as to why, which I just gave an argument for my side, but you have to give an argument as to why someone being atemporal does not entail their aspatiality. And then secondly, and listen closely, I'm going to repeat it. Additionally, you need to give an argument as to why there doesn't exist a presupposition for this just not being a physical avatar which represents the true form that translates to abstractness, okay? So, do you have anything to add, Careless, before we move on? Okay, I'm going to assume that's a no. Go ahead. Can we conclude? Like,
Yeah. So, again,
that was a
you
fake
can,
laugh, and that
you
shit was
can
ass.
abide by some type of chronal dimension, right? Some type of chronal form of time, right?
And then what's
be
the argument for that?
non-physical and
Chrono
still,
form of time.
What's the
yeah,
argument for
so
that theory?
a chronal dimension. What's the argument for that theory?
Correct. That's what I asked.
What do you mean? Do you not know what chronal means?
Uh, uh,
Or do you want the
when
argument
you
for?
say, just to be clear, I'm sorry. Look, you're going to be muted when I answer this question, so you don't ape out because you're retarded. So you're very confused on the question. The question is, what's the argument for the theory? You said we can abide by X thing. If X thing, in your opinion, denies what I'm saying, then it's either the case that I'm going to ask the argument for it, or two, I can just refute it. Yes, I know what the fuck it means, retard. It is a theory, but I think you're conflating it, which is why you're bringing it up as some type of assumption that we abide by. So it's either one, you don't know what the fuck it is, you don't know what you're talking about, you're trying to seem smart to appease fucking K or some shit like that, or two, you give the fucking theory and then attempt to justify it, and obviously you're gonna fail to do so. So what's gonna be the response?
Yeah, there's change. Okay, and how do we determine change under like a chronal dimension?
Uh, so I believe we determine change off of
That's not
spatial interaction.
rhetorical.
As I
That's not
said,
rhetorical.
what's not rhetorical?
My question was an actual question.
Wait, what's not
What are
rhetorical?
you talking about?
What is he talking?
I gave a
What the
question.
fuck is
Good
he
call,
talking
bro.
about? What's not rhetorical? What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
my question wasn't rhetorical. Like, it's an actual question.
Uh, 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 uh,
This
uh,
nigga is ass, bro.
okay, I'm just gonna ignore the question. Anyways, so I believe that change is represented via spatial interaction and action. Obviously, that's gonna exist within the spatial axes. That doesn't defeat what I said, just to be clear. Under that belief, at least. And I'm not saying that is what you're saying. That's just clarity for the judge. But can we move on? Like you didn't say anything. All you did was just make presuppositions and go circular.
Yeah, I mean, that's
And
just
then yeah,
a
also
relative form
Careless
of,
sent the scans, by the way.
okay, that's
Go
just
ahead.
a relative. That's just a relative form of time, like relative to spatial.
Wait, what's a
Uh,
relative form of time?
yeah,
Mob theory of time?
yeah, your theory of time is relative to physical events, right? Whereas a
Oh,
coronal,
really?
Really?
yes, whereas the coronal dimension of time,
Wow,
on that
Infinity, chill. Let him finish.
holy fuck. Anyways, what up? Coronal dimension of time refers to a sequence of events. And so even if you're incorporeal, like I said earlier, you would still be bound to some type of spatial extension unless provided otherwise, which he has failed to do. Now, Mclovin, he's kind of been sidelined if he wants to add on to this.
He already
I
proved
mean,
that.
basically, it's just even you conceded that it could be hyperbolic, and it's a complete outlier. And you're just basically you're making a bunch of assumptions off the fact that it's
Wait,
temporal.
McLovin, just let him just
Just
respond
not
to
what
the
he
one
fucking
thing
said.
I've said because I don't
I ain't
want
gonna lie. Look, so Tron said it best. That's not what the fuck I said at all. Let me respond to the first initial retarded point. Then I'm gonna respond to the side character named Mclovin for some fucking reason. So look, me granting that there exists a sequence of events does not entail that there's change. Just to be clear, and if I were to say that that does entail change, I would just be saying that that's bound, under my view, to a physical process. So it's the case that, in my opinion, time is change. Change represents, or I apologize, is represented via spatial action and spatial interaction. That means a sequence of events is something that's biconditionally connected to these spatial actions and spatial interactions, retard. So there existing a sequence of events is irrelevant. Even if you were to say that, for example, an event exists, an event can exist outside of change or outside of fucking space, retard. An event can literally just be a status, meaning that God can hold a status while being metaphysical. Does that mean that God metaphysically acts or interacts with things? No, it does not mean at all that God metaphysically acts or interacts with things, because the events exist as him holding a status. So there's exists X event. X event is God holding a status of omnipotence. Therefore, there exists X event. Like, what the fuck? That's uninformative. It's called a tautology, retard. It's just true. It's trivially true. That's irrelevant though. So I'm going to ask once again, what's the argument as to why my theory of time is something in which does not adequately account for things that are happening within reality? And then there's two other burdens on the table. Now, in response to the other retard in the background, just to be clear, dumbass, when you just say, "Oh, there's a
Infinity,
bunch of
time, by the way.
assumptions," I want you to. I'm sorry, I don't think I was done. Please mute him. Anyways, when you said there's a bunch of assumptions, I don't think you just saying there's a bunch of assumptions actually responds to anything. If you want to be an actual good debater, I can teach you real quick. Name the assumptions I'm making, and I can either one, explain why the assumptions are not assumptions, meaning that they have evidence behind them, or two, explain why the assumptions are something that are not assumed. What the fuck? So it's just the case that on your side, you have unwarranted assumptions, while on my side, I don't. So I named the unwarranted assumptions. Debate tip 101. You have yet to name the unwarranted assumptions other than saying, it could be it could be the case that it's an exaggeration, which I responded to that by saying, you can't justify, because I don't believe it's narratively possible off of what I've seen, off of my priors, I don't believe it's narratively possible. You can't justify that under a narrative modal scope. It is something that exists possibly. That being the hyperbolic statement or comment that you made, okay?
I was
Bitch.
Are you
saying
done?
you were slamming, and then you said mute this nigga of Infinity.
Oh, my fault.
I didn't know that was. That was you.
So-
What's the talk?
Okay, so I don't know how you define change because a permutation of events is a change in events, right?
I can grant that.
Okay, yeah, okay, so there is change under this coronal form of time. Now, the way you might be using change
Yeah,
in
let's
this like
conclude.
physical
That was
relative
a stutter,
sense,
by the way.
wouldn't no, it wasn't a stutter. If anything, like maybe you can argue
That was a
pushback.
stutter.
Anyways,
Bro, you are
anyways, getting back
ass.
to the argument. Anyways, my argument was, can I get a mute?
Infinity,
Can I get a mute? Can I get a
Infinity.
mute? Can I get a mute?
Yeah,
Can I
keep
get a mute?
talking about this. Infinity.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
anyways, right, the main argument was, okay, your form of time does not work because you already admitted to gravity not existing, and your form of time relies on gravity. That's just how the theory works, right? The theory you're using relies on gravity, and so you admitting that gravity does not exist refutes your version of time. And so we'd have to take my time unless you gave an alternative method, which doesn't involve gravity.
Wow.
We can still follow your argument, which you can do. And then Mclovin, he can like expand on his
Okay,
argument.
so the feed to your argument is I do grant gravity existing. Anyways, so McLovin, what was your response?
To what you said. So your assumptions.
I mean, I would
were
hope it
that-
would be to what I said. What else would it be to? What the hell? Anyways,
okay.
go ahead.
So as I was saying, your assumptions were that he has abstract existence and beyond dimensional existence.
Yeah,
Because
I already proved
if I
this. Let's
recall,
move
and
on.
correct me on this, you said it's because he existed in like an atemporal space.
So I'm sorry. The assumption is a question. Now let me start. Okay, look, it's just a case that if it is true that he existed in atemporal / a spatial place, he would be abstract in virtue of that. Okay, that being Goku. Okay, yay. Okay, step one done. So what's the problem with that? How's that an assumption? If I sent the scans, Careless also say additional scans to supplement the point. Okay, the answer is there is no problem. So we're gonna ignore you for now. Okay, McLevin, go back in the background. Okay, maybe you should text a bit. We can VC the text. Okay, well I debate your other teammate Aieve, who's failing to justify his fucking point. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you rambled on for a long time. So what was your
That shit
original
was
argument?
ass.
No,
Okay, so
what was your original
I got
argument?
you. I got you. In translation for the recording, I can't track, so I'm going to say something rhetorical and then
Yeah,
ask
I
for you to
can't try.
repeat your
Yeah, I'll
point.
admit to not tracking. You rambled for 10
Look, so
minutes.
Careless, do you have anything?
No, I'm finna send more evidence too.
Do you not remember
I
your
bet.
argument
I
either?
bet.
Like, I'm confused.
I'm sorry. Are you asking for me to repeat the response that you gave, or I apologize, that I gave towards the point you just made?
Yeah, the last point I made, you gave like a quick quip. Moved
I'm
on. What
sorry.
was
Maybe you're autistic, but that wasn't an argument. That was a claim.
okay? What was the claim you gave?
Okay, so that's tracking error number 10. Okay, the
From
claim that
off
I
the
gave is
base.
that I grant, I commit to gravity existing, and that's consistent with my view.
Yeah, well, how's it consistent when your original argument was that you erased everything? And if
Wait,
gravity
just to be
does
clear,
exist,
under my maybe you're autistic. So under my view of time, gravity is something which is going to be committed to. Okay, I'm not saying that gravity exists within the fucking scan, bitch. He obviously erased everything which would include
okay,
gravity
yeah, okay,
deductively.
yeah, that's
Dumbass
fine. And you admit
bitch.
to your argument being false, then that's fine. Mclovin, if you have anything to add,
Yeah, what's the argument for that?
I already gave
Yes,
the
I'm
argument
talking to
earlier.
you.
You're not
So hold on, just
tracking
to be
either. I
clear.
give the argument
Just to be
either.
clear, just to be clear, it's just the case that every argument you gave before was circular. So I agree you gave a circular fallacious fucking argument. Sure, I agree. Yay, good for you. Anyways, look, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I apologize. I thought you were the better
But
teammate. We're
this
gonna
nigga's
go
so
back to
ass.
McLovin. So McLovin, go ahead. You can text in
Uh,
the chat if you're not confident in VC
so
yet.
so
I
why
understand this is your first VC debate.
so why are you assuming that it's an atemporal aspatial space and not just outside of the main space time of the universes?
Uh, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Look, there's multiple universes within Dragon Ball, so even if it was just outside of the main space within the universes, that would just defeat your entire point, and that would justify my position
Wow.
because you said he caps at 2B, but that's irrelevant. Even I ain't gonna lie, that's irrelevant. Don't cut me off. That's irrelevant. I already justified why it would be deductively including space and time. It's just the case that space and time are a thing because they exist. Therefore, when it says he erased everything, it's most likely including these things in which exist because every and all are universal terms. Let me type it out in chat. Look, every, all. You know what? Let me make it bigger for you. Don't talk yet. Hold on. Every, all. Okay. Now, what's the response, McLovin?
I mean, again, I think you're kind of
Okay, if you're gonna
making
say again, that seems to be
making
an
an
indication that
assumption.
you're repeating yourself. So I'm gonna just
You're
ignore
making an
you.
assumption that like it's
Ooh, a
erasing
new point.
concepts and stuff.
Yeah,
Essentially,
justified it is not erasing concepts. Also, just be clear. When we say concepts, I'm assuming you mean abstract things. I don't believe you can erase abstract things. I don't believe that time and space are a concept, retard. I believe that I believe that they're a name that we use to describe representatives. So, for example, you have a name or, I apologize, a reference point, time. Time is going to be represented, I'm sorry, time as a label is going to be represented as anything in which has interaction spatially speaking. Okay, so whenever something spatially interacts or acts, it's the case that time is taking place there, or time as a label is being represented. So when you say time as a concept, assuming you mean an abstract thing in which talks about something within reality, I don't really know if I grant that. If you mean time as a concept, as in an understanding, sure. What the fuck? The understanding is just gonna be based upon its reference. Okay, so let's conclude.
McLovin, do you have anything else to say? Like, do you think you made your
uh,
point adequately, or would you like to go to conclusions?
just throw maybe one more thing out there. So
Okay.
Saiyans can't breathe in space, right? So like, what was going on? out
Careless.
there?
Can we get a mute? Can we get a mute?
This nigga
Okay, let me respond.
Can we get a
Let me
mute?
respond to
No,
that.
everyone chill.
Yeah,
Everyone
let me
chill.
respond to
Yo,
that.
one guy, mute him, bro.
Yeah,
Mute
let me
him.
respond.
Mute him.
Well, hold on. He's gonna respond. He's gonna respond.
Okay, let me respond to
Yo,
that.
mute
So look,
mute
McLovin,
Infinity, bro.
Let him respond. Let him respond.
Hold on. McLovin, in response to that, yeah, I can you can't. Uh, anyways, one, you can't justify that, and secondly, it could just be an inconsistency within Dragon Ball. And then thirdly, I agree that regular Saiyans can't breathe in space, possibly. Sure, but that does not mean that an abstract being. Well, I apologize. Yes, abstract beings can breathe in space. I grant that. Why? Because abstract beings can't breathe at all. Because breathing is an action, and abstract beings can't perform actions. So yeah.
You already
What the fuck?
conceded to that earlier. Like, what you already conceded to that not being the case.
McLovin, I think
What
this is
not being the case?
bro.
What not being the case?
That abstract beings cannot commit action. You already conceded to that not being the case.
That they can. I conceded to the fact that they can perform actions under your view. When did I
No,
concede to that?
earlier in the debate.
By saying
By your
you don't even
interpretation of
know,
time
nigga.
being false, like
Okay, under my interpretation of time, it's just going to be the case that look, abstract beings who are atemporal cannot physically perform actions, which I obviously believe time is represented by. So if a being is aspatial, then that translates to them being atemporal because to be temporal means that you're being able to be represented by spatial actions or interactions, or you're able to commit or perform those things. Obviously, something non-spatial can't perform spatial actions, so they wouldn't be able to just perform temporal actions in translation. So there's no concede or there's no concession. It's just basic step by step shit. Even though isn't what I understand. So can we conclude? Like,
I mean, that was already addressed. So if
I
McLovin
mean,
is
if you
done,
believe that, sure, I can
I'm
agree that a
done.
retard thinks retarded things. So, Careless, before we conclude, do you have anything intelligent to add? Because you're, the best.
Let's conclude.
Okay, bet.
McLovin, you're good too.
Yeah, I'm good.
I
Okay.
know he's ass. He's not good.
Think
But
it's
look,
like a shit
so
version of
I mean,
who won?
this was
Cool
just a
guy.
lot of
Yeah.
semantic masturbation, but okay.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't know. I don't know if you learned that term or that phrase from Apollo, but that shit was ass. But anyways, hey, go ahead, cool guy.
Yeah. So you guys don't want to give conclusions. You guys are good just as it is.
Nigga, I ain't gonna lie, cool guy.
Yeah.
But you already know who won. Don't even shit.
Yeah. So okay, the recollection of first things you guys talked about was the BDE thing. Like he doesn't have BDE. Infinity said that was question begging, so that got dropped. Then Infinity brought up like the prima facie justification, which I don't feel was defeated at any point. The
Not
only
at all.
they tried to by saying, well, he's materially composed. And then Infinity's response to that was, yeah, well, we're talking about the abstract form, and that whatever you're referring to is just the physical avatar. And there was no adequate refutation for that. Then the final thing that I thought was relevant was I was like, well, under your view of time, you have to be committed to gravity existing. And then Infinity's like, yeah, I do, so what does it matter? And Ive's response was, well, in that scan, that says everything, which includes gravity. And I think Ive might have not tracked this correctly because...
no, I didn't say anything was stated in the scan. I said his
I'm
interpretation.
sorry. Wait, no. Do not cut him off during his judgment. Look, you don't have to feel
I thought he
insecure.
was asking for clarification. Calm
I'm
down.
sorry. You just didn't think that because he just did not ask like any question at all. But go ahead, continue.
Just let me finish. So the issue is, he wasn't saying like in that scan gravity existed. He was saying that nothing exists, including time. But he's saying like if time exists at all, then it is also the case that gravity exists alongside time. So he just grants that, and that's fine. So as far as that being a refutation to his account of time goes, I can't see how that would give the refutation where you proposed this ultimatum where you were like, well, it's either you explain gravity under your account of time, or we just default to my account of time. But there was no such prompt to give that ultimatum any sort of credence. And then there was the Saiyans breathing thing, which was, I'm not even going to comment on that. But
No argument for that.
Yeah. So I have a question. How do we drop BDE?
the BDE thing, like, it just been so far as he said it was question begging because he was like, yeah, I think he can have it. And also just saying he doesn't have BDE. Well, that's what Infinity is arguing for. Like that's his whole thing. Like so.
Yeah.
Well, look, the way it is, it's like this, right? So Infinity's claiming that he has BDE, like that's what they're talking about in this outer, like above material composition. Then Mclovin's like, well, he doesn't have BDE, and then Infinity's like, well, that's question begging because that's what we're saying he has. And then he and then the justification why you guys think he doesn't have BD because he has material composition, and then
No,
he's like,
no. That's the confusion. That's confusion. So the original argument was that not only is he materially composed, the scan he's